Pleasure to be here. My name is Ed Doherty, and I'm happy to serve our province as MLA for St. John Harbour, which I think is the best riding in the province. Nevertheless, today I'm very pleased to be here to participate in this important announcement for all New Brunswick families. And this announcement and being able to be here today has particular significance for me. Many years ago, myself and the YMCA worked on a project to have daycare and early learning centers in high schools right here in St. John. So it's come full circle with this announcement today. So it's indeed a pleasure to be part of this announcement. Affordable, accessible daycares and early childhood learning have always been a priority for me in my political career. So I also would like to know that it's been very important for our government. Our government knows that one of the very best investments we can make is in education and early childhood learning. So that brings us to the announcement today. So I'm very honored to say a few words about our first speaker, your Premier, Premier Brian Gallant, who had a great visit with these little kids. But before I do that, there's a number of people in the audience that I would like to recognize. First of all, I'd like to recognize our Mayor, Don Darling. Our MP, Wayne Long, is here. And councillors, Donna Reardon, John McKenzie, Shirley McAlery, and Jerry Lowe. And if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. And also we have members of government. We've got Trevor Holder and Glenn Savoy. But the most important people here today are these sweet little kids in the front here from the YMCA daycare. Let's give them a big hand. They are so good. We also have students from the Newcomers Connections here. So let's have a hand for our newcomers. And also joining us is Norm Bosse, our Child and Youth Advocate. Norm, thanks for coming. So since our Premier Brian Gallant has become Premier of our province, he has worked very, very hard to create jobs, to promote education, and to promote health care. Brian has worked hard to right the finances of the government, starting with cuts in his own salary and the salaries of his cabinet, to ensure that your taxpayers' dollars and public money is directed to the priorities of our province. Our Premier is listening to New Brunswickers by traveling around the province, and he's getting things done. So ladies and gentlemen and little kids, without further ado, I'm pleased to welcome to the podium your Premier, Mr. Brian Gallant. Brian?
Investing in early childhood education is a key component of your government's multi-year economic growth plan. Investir dans l'éducation à la petite enfance est un élément clé du plan de croissance économique pluriannuel de votre gouvernement. So thank you very much for being here for this important announcement. We very much appreciate the fact that you've all taken some time out of your busy schedules to come see what is being announced today. I want to take a moment to thank everybody that Ed mentioned, so the Mayor, councillors, MP Wayne Long, in which today's announcement would not be possible if it weren't for his government working very hard and making the investments that they're making in early childhood development. I want to thank our colleagues from the legislature. I want to thank Shiloh, Boucher, and the whole YMCA team. This is, I think, my 17th announcement in the last month here at the YMCA. So you're very kind to accommodate us. I really do appreciate it. Donna, I want to thank you and all of the people involved with Living St. John. Claire, I want to thank you as well, and everybody at the Chamber and the business community for everything that you do to advance the region's economy and the province's economy. And last but not least, I do want to thank Ed Doherty, not only for doing a great job as MLA, but of course doing a great job as today's MC. So please give all of those people a round of applause. I also want to thank anybody that's watching on Facebook Live. So there are people that may be watching online, so we appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully you'll be able to get all of the gist of the announcement today. One of the best investments we can make to grow the economy here in New Brunswick and to strengthen education, as well as enhance health care here in the province, is investing in early childhood development. By working with all stakeholders and the Trudeau government, we will invest millions of dollars to support families that are struggling to pay for childcare, increase the number of childcare spaces, and improve the quality of care. Nous nous engageons à améliorer les services de garderie de la province et nous comprenons qu'investir dans l'apprentissage et la garde des jeunes enfants est essentiel à la qualité de vie de nos familles et à l'économie. Nous sommes fiers d'avoir rendu public plus tôt cette semaine notre plan d'action pour les services de garderie éducatifs. Ce plan d'action décrit comment votre gouvernement investira pour transformer le système des services de garderie et l'éducation de la petite enfance ici au Nouveau-Brunswick. Through our Early Learning and Childcare Action Plan, we are investing to create more spaces to improve accessibility of childcare, improve quality of childcare, and help families that are struggling to pay for childcare. So today's announcement, I hope you'll indulge me. I may last a little longer here at the podium because I want to make sure that I get through every component of the plan. This is important for a few reasons. First off, we want all New Brunswickers to understand all components of the plan. Hopefully through the media, we'll be able to accomplish that. We also hope that everybody that's in this room or in this space, that you'll serve as ambassadors to explain the plan so people realize what opportunities there are for them to improve the access to affordable and high-quality child care. So I have three components to what I want to talk about today: accessibility of child care, quality of child care, and affordability of child care. Let's start with accessibility. More spaces are needed in the province. We have too many families that are struggling to find child care spaces in New Brunswick. Since October 2014, your government has created nearly 3,000 additional child care spaces to address this issue and is on track to expanding the total number of spaces in New Brunswick to 30,000 by 2020. We also understand that there's another problem. There are spaces at times, but we don't have the right spaces for what families are looking for. And by listening to New Brunswick families, operators, educators of early learning, childhood development, we realize that infant spaces is an additional challenge for many in the province. Well, since there aren't enough spaces for parents, we had to address this. We spoke to parents and operators, and we realized one of the challenges for operators is because the ratio is 1 educator for 3 infants, it makes it more difficult to make that financially sustainable in the long term. So we are going to address these challenges. That's why we are creating an infant operator grant for early learning centers. The infant operating grant will be available to child care operators of early learning centers to help offset operational costs. The grant will provide $10 per occupied infant space per day. This is with the goal of increasing the number of infant spaces across the province by 200 spaces by 2020. Les centres de la petite enfance du Nouveau-Brunswick désignés recevront une aide financière afin d'augmenter le nombre de places pour les nourrissons. To address access, we are also creating a child care registry, which will be ready in late 2018. Le registre vise à simplifier les processus pour les familles en leur permettant d'inscrire leurs enfants aux places en garderie. What this will help us do is parents will be able to register their children on this registry to try to get a space right away. They will then be notified if there's one for the age of their child, and if there isn't, that they're on a wait list. Now, that's helpful to them. Obviously, you don't want them to be on a wait list, but what that does, it helps us as a government to recognize where there is a lack of spaces in the province, what type of spaces are lacking, and then we can intervene to make sure we do everything we can to create more spaces and the right types of spaces. Second component, you're all doing really well, by the way, thank you. Second component, quality. We are creating an early learning center designation. New Brunswick Early Learning Centers will offer services to preschool children aged 5 and under through a voluntary application process. So what that means, daycares are not required to become an early learning center. We do hope that all daycares will choose to become an early learning center, however. Celles qui choisissent de participer travailleront en collaboration avec le gouvernement dans le but d'offrir un accès équitable et abordable à des services d'éducation de la petite enfance et de garderie de haute qualité, en éliminant les obstacles se rattachant au revenu familial, à la capacité et aux besoins des enfants, à la langue, ainsi qu'au milieu minoritaire. We will work towards transforming as many child care facilities as possible with the aim of designating more than 300 as New Brunswick Early Learning Centers by 2020. The Early Learning Center will offer more affordable, accessible, and high-quality early learning and child care services. Quality grants is something else that I want to talk to you about. To assist daycares that choose to become an early learning center, they will be able to apply for a one-time quality improvement grant to increase the quality of both indoor and outdoor learning environments, including equipment and materials for children aged 5 and under. The one-time grants will total a $4.7 million investment over the next 2 years. There will also be annual quality grants. $7.5 million in annual quality grants will be provided to help the facilities deliver quality child care services and meet the criteria of becoming a designated New Brunswick Early Learning Center. The funding equates to a daily funding enhancement of $2.50 per space per day for children aged 2 to 5 years old. All early learning center operators will obviously be required to develop a plan for continuous quality improvement. We also listen to operators and to educators and realize there's another challenge in our child care services industry. Wages. Wages is a challenge because there's high turnover at the moment for educators of early learning childhood development. Because the wages maybe aren't as competitive as we need them to be, there is high turnover, and then that has an impact on operators, as you can imagine, as they're always trying to find new people, hire the people, train the people, and then get them with the children to do what they need to do. And at the same time, you can realize that this can have an impact not only on operators, but on the quality of childcare. To address these challenges, we are also committing to invest $28 million in addition to the multi-year bilateral funding to support wage increases for early childhood educators. The funding will be rolled out over 4 years, beginning in 2019, and raise wages from $16 an hour to $19 an hour for trained early childhood educators by 2023. Nous allons aussi Nous allons aussi créer 7 centres d'excellence en éducation préscolaire, soit un dans chaque district scolaire, en collaboration avec le ministère, les établissements d'enseignement postsecondaire et les districts scolaires. Chaque service portant la désignation Centre de la petite enfance du Nouveau-Brunswick sera appuyé par un conseil consultatif de parents. Ceux-ci veilleront à favoriser une participation et un engagement plus grand des parents dans les services fournis à leurs enfants. Même si les parents sont les premiers éducateurs et éducatrices de leurs enfants, il importe qu'ils tissent des liens avec les services de garderie éducatifs, puisqu'ils jouent un rôle essentiel en offre active d'expérience en éducation préscolaire de qualité aux enfants de moins de 5 ans. The rollout of all of this will be done in phases. We will go region to region to roll this out from now until March 2019. The rollout has begun with the regions of Greater Edmundston and the region of St. John being the 2 first regions in which we will start. Now on to today's announcement. Thank you for your patience, by the way. Affordability. There are definitely challenges facing families when it comes to the cost of childcare in this province. What it does, it unfortunately creates a cycle, often creates a cycle of poverty for families in our province. They have children, they have a child, they would maybe go to work if they could, but unfortunately when they do the math and say, if I go and take the job that I'm qualified to do right now, I unfortunately will be paying childcare costs that will make it that really I'm not coming much ahead if I'm coming ahead at all. So we have a cycle of poverty that can be created. We have people that could go and fill some of the jobs by upgrading their skills, going to university or college, but have children and face the same type of challenge where they just can't afford tuition and childcare at the same time. And we have other situations where we have challenges in the workforce, where there are jobs waiting to be filled right now in Greater St. John and across the province, hundreds, in fact, in this region that we could have New Brunswickers doing right now, but they face challenges, and some of it would be the fact that they have a child at the house and childcare is too much, and some of it would be they don't have the skills right now and they just can't get the skills because childcare is too much. So there are challenges, and these challenges need to be addressed. S'assurer que toutes les familles du Nouveau-Brunswick progressent ensemble est une priorité pour votre gouvernement. Améliorer l'accessibilité aux services de garde aux familles ayant un plus faible revenu permettra de s'assurer que les parents ont toutes les chances de participer au marché du travail ou de poursuivre leurs études. I'm very pleased to tell you that government is committed to investing in order to help support families who need the most support with the cost of childcare. Which brings us to the announcement. Your government is pleased to announce that New Brunswick families with an annual gross income of $37,500 or less will now have access to free childcare. Votre gouvernement est fier d'annoncer que les familles ayant un revenu annuel brut de moins de 37 500 $ auront accès à des services de garderie gratuits. Ensuring that all New Brunswick families are moving forward together is a priority for your government. Access to free childcare for lower-income families will ensure parents are given every opportunity to enter the workforce or pursue their studies, while having the peace of mind that their children are being cared for in high-quality early learning centers across the province. Le programme est offert aux familles admissibles sans égard à l'emplacement du centre et aux frais imposés par son exploitant. The free daycare program is for parents who are either working or attending school, with children aged 5 and under, attending a designated New Brunswick Early Learning Center. Les parents seront informés par les garderies dès qu'elles auront reçu la désignation et ils pourront alors entamer le processus. Your government is focused on a holistic approach to supporting New Brunswick families. And I want to take a minute to maybe just paint one picture, one example of how this program, coupled with other investments that we've made, will be able to help New Brunswick families. Take two programs that we've created. One, the free tuition program, and of course this free child care investment. Before these investments, if a single mother of a young child here in St. John wished to further her studies at UNBSJ, she would just not be able to afford both tuition and child care. Now your government has offered her the opportunity to access both free tuition and free child care while she studies. Cases like these, and you all know this, will result in healthier families and a stronger workforce here in New Brunswick. We will unveil details soon about how we will financially support more middle-class families with who have too high of a percentage of their salaries going to child care. We will finalize the details to better support middle-class families with children 5 or under with the cost of child care over the next week or so. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui s'inscrit dans le cadre de l'accord fédéral provincial triennal sur l'apprentissage et la garde des jeunes enfants, qui comporte un engagement de 71 millions de dollars en investissement afin d'améliorer les services d'apprentissage et de garde des jeunes enfants à l'intention des enfants d'âge préscolaire de la province. Et 28 millions de dollars additionnels pour augmenter le salaire des éducateurs et éducatrices de la petite enfance. The investments outlined today are part of the federal provincial 3-year early learning and child care agreement that commits $71 million in investments to improve early learning and child care for preschool-age children in the province. In addition to the $71 million, like we mentioned, we are committing $28 million for wage increases for the early learning educators. We have no doubt that these investments will help grow our economy. We have no doubt that these investments will help our post-secondary education institutions be more accessible and affordable for more New Brunswickers. We have no doubt that this is going to help enhance the children's educational opportunities in this province, and we have no doubt that this is going to help us collectively end generational poverty in this province. We look forward to continuing to work with all of you to ensure New Brunswick families have access to affordable, high-quality child care. Merci beaucoup.
Wow, what an announcement. And these little kids are so good. They were clapping and smiling. And so let's have a big hand for our premier, this announcement. number of children whose parents will be able to take advantage of this wonderful program. It's indeed a pleasure. I'm absolutely overwhelmed by this. This is something that in my political career has made a huge difference, and to think that now we'll have accessible, high-quality, affordable daycare to overcome generational poverty. Oh man, it's great. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure now to invite Donna Gates, the Executive Director of Living St. John, to the podium to say a few words. Donna?
Thank you, Dr. Doherty, and it is great. It is great. So thank you again, Mr. Premier, for coming to St. John with this welcome news. Everyone is so excited, and of course, we are so grateful for your commitment and the commitment of this province to the work of Living SJ, and of course to New Brunswick families, so thank you. This announcement builds upon the research and advocacy our partners have been doing for many years. We know the largest and most persistent barrier to participating in the workforce for parents, and in particular women, is access to quality, affordable childcare. We know that a poverty reduction strategy without childcare supports will have little impact on reducing poverty. Parents are too often caught having to juggle the number of days they can work or study so they can look after their children. This sacrifices their potential earning ability and even job prospects. But this is also about peace of mind, which is something you said, Mr. Premier. It should be our expectation and our goal that every parent can go to work or school with the knowledge that their child is safe and well cared for. That way, families can concentrate on moving their lives forward on a path to sustainability and prosperity. For too long, childcare has been treated as an insignificant issue, a women's issue, when it is actually an economic one. Having access to affordable early learning and childcare really can be the difference between living in poverty or not. What's also terrific to see in this announcement today is that the initiative touches on another of Living SJ's pillars, that every family has access to quality early education for their children. We have seen in this community that a child's experience at an early learning center creates lifelong benefits. And we see the impact not only in the children's development, but at the level of the parent-child relationship. An inclusive early learning education model improves outcomes for kindergarten readiness. Special supports or needs can be identified, and exposure to reading and other skills are introduced sooner. And parents have an opportunity from their child's earliest stages of development to be engaged, perhaps in a way they were not. This is how we break the cycle of generational poverty. And it is also made possible by working together with communities in partnership and the provincial and federal governments, all with a clear focus on families. Again, Mr. Premier, thank you for designating St. John as one of the provincial centres, and for your personal commitment to Living SJ, our network, and our priorities. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Donna. And speaking of long-term benefits, it's these little children here and their families that's going to benefit. So thank you for being so good. Now it gives me great pleasure to ask Claire Ryan of the St. John Regional Chamber of Commerce to come forward and say a few words. Claire.
Thank you, Dr. Doherty. I'm in awe of these girls as well. I have a toddler at home who would have probably eat the flag by now, so this is really, I'm very impressed. What a great day. Today's announcement is going to change the lives for many New Brunswick families who struggle to stretch each dollar to cover the necessities, including the cost of childcare. But just as importantly, it's also going to support economic growth in our province by giving parents the choice to enter or return to the workforce or enroll in post-secondary training to increase employment potential. Making childcare more affordable or free, which is awesome, gives parents and families more flexibility in how they participate in the workforce, pursue careers, and contribute to our economy. Increasing the income potential of New Brunswick families will hopefully mean that there are eventually fewer children who are living and being raised in poverty, But with this announcement at the Chamber, we thought of the entrepreneurs and the small business owners who are part of our network and part of the business community in St. John and New Brunswick, who are going to welcome this news for the added autonomy it gives them in terms of building a business and navigating the challenges of childcare and family planning. Free childcare is a great opportunity for our province, our economy, and our families. So I applaud the initiative announced today and look forward to seeing it rolled out. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Claire. And my children are all big, but I have little grandchildren who are just about your age, but they would not be as good as you would. Their names are Grayson and Emerson, and they're 6 and 4. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the Mayor to come and say a few words. And Mayor Don Darling, please come to the podium.
Well, thanks very much. I can't tell you how pleased I was to arrive here. I got a note that said, you know, we need you at the Y. And I created this whole scenario that it was an intervention to get me back upstairs to work out. So when I arrived here and there was hundreds of people, I was so thrilled that and I had no idea how thrilled I should be today at this announcement. As normal, I scratched a few words on a piece of paper. I just do want to acknowledge we almost have a council caucus here, so we're not allowed to be close to each other. But to all my colleagues, I think we missed Councillor Armstrong, to the MP, to the other members of the legislature. Great day, ladies and gentlemen. All of you that are involved in providing quality child care. I had a few comments here that probably would sound more mayor-like, but what I really want to share with you is a bunch of thank yous. And where I was taken with the Premier's announcement today was back to my own childhood, when I remember my mother, as a then sort of single mom. My mom and dad had divorced, and my mom worked in the same building that we lived in. And Mom would get up early, and it was, as much as I didn't like oatmeal at the time, it was oatmeal for breakfast, and Mom would race downstairs and do a bit of work. And then she'd get me off to school, and she'd say hello to me when I came back upstairs. And you know, she'd go back downstairs, and she'd rush upstairs, and she'd make a bit of food, and I'd get a bit of a bite to eat, and then she'd race back downstairs again. And that is what shaped me to be the man that I am and the leader that I tried to be. So I'm full of emotion, actually, to hear today about an announcement that will remove barriers, that will allow people. I wrote down, more space, improve accessibility, improved quality, and helping find strategies to help people pay who are struggling to pay. And these are the fundamental elements that we need. And as I'm sitting here trying to contemplate, this is how we wrap all around some of the struggles that we have in our community and in our province at times. Yesterday I was speaking to a business group, and like every day I got a bit of emotional in one paragraph that I wanted to deliver. And I said, in St. John we have a city that has such wealth and such prosperity, and at the same breath we have a city that has such we have 400 derelict buildings on a list. We have communities that are struggling. We have people that are in such need in our community. And it's wrong. And these are the types of initiatives, the investment by your government, Mr. Premier, you as our regional minister, with Living SJ, with the YMCA and all the other providers, and with all of and we need this community to come together to solve these types of initiatives. That's what keeps me excited in my job, that when we're actually starting to tie this all together, remove these barriers so that we can shrink this gap between those that have so much and those that struggle so much on a daily basis. And yesterday what I said is, if you think I'm serious about doing something about that, just test me. And today, Mr. Premier, you made that for my community and communities around this province a little bit easier, a lot easier. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor. And also, there's a couple of other people I'd like to thank. One is the Sisters of Charity. If you look up here, you see the Sisters of Charity Child and Family Room. They're with us today. They've been wonderful supporters of our community. So let's have a big hand for the Sisters of Charity. And the last but not least, I'd like to give my personal thanks to the YMCA. This is the YMCA has been child care and early childhood learning has been part of their mandates. They certainly have been leaders in our community. So a big, big thanks to the YMCA. And last but not least, I'd like to thank these little children who clapped appropriately, were very, very good, and so we hope that you have a good day. So ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our event. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.